Hey YouTube family and GN subs, hope you're doing well. I am keeping it positive, folks. I thank you for your comments, and all of you are keeping positive with me. You're loving the good news. Thank you for letting me know that. Continue to let me know that. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm Humberto or Gray, and please click below, like and subscribe. We have great content. Today we have a subject that is really, really important. We have the federal judiciary checking the executive. I'm going to go through a very, very important case that you probably all have heard of, and it's another example of the judiciary rulings helping us win. We are winning, folks, and this is a great case. There's so much to this case that I have to unpack, all right? So let's get at it. All right, you probably heard about the Venezuelan gang members who were removed to El Salvador. It's not about Venezuelan gang members, folks. It's about everyone in the rule of law, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why the judge agrees with me and thinks it's just not about Venezuelan gang members. So how do we set this case up for you and let you know exactly what the judge did? So we have to start with due process. Everybody in the U.S., including undocumented migrants, have due process. Right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does this mean? Right? Liberty means you have a right to an attorney and you have a right to a hearing, okay? You can't just strip individuals of due process. So what did the administration do? So the administration invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, folks. Can you believe that? This is a law, for example, in World War II, we invoked that law and we put in internment camps, Japanese, Germans, and Italians. It was a sad day in our history, and that's happening again, except for worse, right? So this act can be invoked when there's a war or when there's hostility of a foreign government entering into the U.S. Now, the administration is arguing incorrectly, and I'll tell you why later, but incorrectly that the Venezuelan government is sending over these gang members to the U.S., all right? Not happening, folks. So what the administration has done is they invoked this act to circumvent providing due process to these individuals. So, I mean, let's say they suspected that I was a Venezuelan gang member, and they just put me on a plane and sent me to El Salvador. I couldn't get in touch with my attorneys. This friggin' prison in El Salvador is horrid. It's really bad. There was a reporter that reported on this place, and she said thousands and thousands of detainees, and it was silent. It was eerily silent because their rights have been stripped away from them. It's like they're not human. It's like they're just sitting there rotting away. So that's what might happen to individuals that are here in the U.S. and you can't determine whether or not they're Venezuelan, whether or not they're gang members, whether or not they even should be deported, right? Because there's no hearing, there's no attorney, and there's no hearing. This is what has happened. So a federal judge jumps in to save the day and says, do not remove 100 Venezuelans. We have to have a hearing to determine whether or not they should be removed or not. Well, the administration ignored the judge. So now you have the executive ignoring the judge, and they sent them to El Salvador anyway. This judge was pissed. And the judge said, basically, I am holding a hearing. Who disregarded my order? I am a co-equal branch of government with the executive, and I have power. I can hold you, executive, in contempt of court. I can hold you in criminal contempt of court. So I want a hearing. I want to know who disobeyed my order and when. Well, the administration doubled down. The administration said this judge should be impeached. Then something really interesting happened, which is very rare in American history. In 250 years, you had the Supreme Court Justice of the United States, Judge Roberts, weigh in and say, look, impeachment is not the correct method of disagreeing with the judgment. The correct method is appealing to the Court of Appeals and then appealing to the Supreme Court. Very rare rebuke. Very rare rebuke. That tells you how important this case is, folks. This is about power. This is about executive branch trying to control all of the power and not listening to the judiciary. If this happens, then we're in a constitutional crisis. That's why, again, this case is so important. So further, Judge Boasberg is his name, ruled yesterday, just yesterday, that the invocation of the Enemies Act, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, is not proper in this context because there's no war and there's no hostile government sending, individuals to the United States. So that's another ruling that was in our favor. And hey, if you are an immigrant in the United States, if you are a permanent resident of the United States, if you're a U.S. citizen of the United States, you have due process rights. So this case shows you a lot. This shows you the three branches of government and the checks and balances that there are. Here you have the judiciary checking really hard a rogue executive, right? You have the rule of law, interpretation of the rule of law, and you have to abide by the rule of law in this country. It talks about due process rights, really, really important. Individuals have due process rights here in the United States. This is a great case that demonstrates that. Again, this is a signal to the executive branch that you can't just write unlawful executive orders, all right? So this is very important. I'm going to keep following this case and I'm going to give you updates, but I wanted to spend some time to digest this with you, to make it simple and understanding, and to let you know there's hope, folks. We have some checks on government, and we're going to keep using those. Judges and attorneys are our first line of defense. And hey, YouTube family and GN subs, thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, I have tons of content that's really good. Go to my library, go to my playlist, and you can get educated. All right. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.